On the surface of Mars, there is a rock. If you look closely at the dark spots in the center, you might be seeing the remains of ancient life on the red planet. That is what NASA announced in September 2025. This could very well be the most compelling sign of life ever discovered on Mars. It is the strongest evidence of alien life found so far, and it comes from a rock sample collected by the Perseverance rover. So what is it about these spots that suggests life existed on another world? The answer is complex, but today we will break it down. First, let's talk about where on Mars this rock was found. This is Jezero Crater, the landing site for NASA's Perseverance rover, the most advanced robotic explorer ever sent to Mars. NASA chose this location for a specific reason. Billions of years ago, this basin is believed to have been filled with liquid water. The reason scientists think Jezero was once a lake is because of a gap in the crater rim. There is clear evidence that a river once flowed from nearby highlands and emptied into the crater. Perseverance landed right at the river's mouth in 2021, exactly where NASA thought the chances of finding evidence like this would be highest. If life ever existed on Mars, it would have been in a place like this. But that doesn't mean it was easy to find. It took 3 years of exploration before Perseverance came across this unusual rock sticking up from the sand. What makes the rock special is the repeating dark pattern across its surface. NASA calls the small specks poppy seeds and the larger shapes leopard spots. To give you a sense of scale, the photo we are looking at is an extreme close-up. Even the larger leopard spots are only 1 or 2 millimeters across. That means the alien life responsible for this would have been tiny. We are talking about microbes or bacteria, which are too small for Perseverance to see directly. So instead, we are looking for evidence that these microbes once lived, things they left behind. Those dark spots represent a waste product created by active microbial life. In simple terms, this is fossilized Martian waste, or at least that is the most likely explanation right now. After spotting the mysterious pattern, NASA used the rover's robotic arm and its full suite of scientific instruments to investigate. Initial observations showed this is sedimentary rock, formed over millions of years as the river flowed and deposited layers of minerals into muddy ground. Over time, those layers were compressed under their own weight, and as the river dried up, the mud hardened into stone. On Earth, sedimentary rocks often contain fossils because plant and animal remains get trapped in the layers and preserved during the hardening process. What's interesting about this location is that it contains some of the youngest sedimentary rock ever found on Mars, dating back about 3 billion years. That means the window for a habitable Mars may be wider than we thought. If true, it suggests life existed on Earth and Mars at the same time, developing in similar ways. But to know for sure, we need to dig deeper. You can see this in a self-portrait taken by Perseverance in July 2024. The rover's team knew this moment was worth commemorating. The rock is right in the middle of the frame, and the small white circle marks where the rover's drill cut and extracted a sample. That sample may one day be brought to Earth for further study, but we'll come back to that. On Mars, Perseverance provided initial findings that surprised NASA scientists. The rover identified 2 iron-based minerals inside the leopard spots, vivianite and greigite. These minerals are often found in similar patterns on Earth, and when they are, it's usually linked to microbial life or bacteria. Specifically, vivianite and greigite are found where plants and animals decay. Microbes come in, consume the dead organic matter, and create these iron-rich minerals as a byproduct. It's microbial waste. It's important to note that you don't need a dead animal on Mars to feed those microbes. You only need the building blocks of life which bacteria eat. This is what we call organic matter. Consider this. 96% of your body mass is made from just 4 key elements in various combinations. Those ingredients are oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen. We know Mars contains organic matter, especially in crater regions where it was brought to the surface by asteroid impacts. A lot of organics were found inside the same rock covered by leopard spots, but that alone doesn't prove life existed. We need more evidence, and that's what vivianite and greigite provide. We have the ingredients for life and the byproduct of life. So to connect the dots, we must have had life on Mars, right? Well, that's not exactly what NASA is saying. They are being very careful, maintaining a cautiously optimistic but not definitive tone in their announcement. There's a good reason for that. In 1996, there was a video of President Bill Clinton announcing the discovery of what appeared to be a fossilized life form inside an asteroid that broke off from Mars and landed in Antarctica. What they found looked like a tiny worm, but upon closer analysis, it turned out to be a non-biological process. Water interacting with the rock created a worm-like structure. Having a president announce fossilized aliens, only for it to be a strange-looking rock, is not a good look. NASA had a similar experience 20 years earlier during the Viking missions in 1976. That was the first time the American space program landed on Mars. Scientists were eager to find signs of Martian life. The Viking probe conducted a simple experiment. It scooped up Martian soil and sprayed it with a mixture of water and nutrients. The idea was that if microbes were alive in the soil, they would drink the water, eat the food, and create a byproduct, similar to what we've discussed. NASA was specifically looking for the release of CO2 gas from the sample, and that's exactly what they found. After adding nutrient water to the soil, it produced CO2, which could indicate a biological process. For a moment, scientists thought they had proven alien life existed, but the celebration didn't last. While alien biology is one explanation for CO2, it's not the only one. Many chemical combinations can produce CO2 gas, like adding vinegar to baking soda. Neither of those things are alive. There was no evidence of organic material in the Viking soil samples, meaning the ingredients for life weren't even there. All they had was a bit of CO2 gas, and the experiment was labeled inconclusive. Astronomer Carl Sagan had an important phrase on his 1980s television show Cosmos. That's the approach NASA is taking with this latest discovery. Since the leopard spots were first found, scientists worldwide have tried to prove this is not evidence of alien life. Just look at how many names are on this research paper. If the evidence holds up under extreme scrutiny and no other reasonable explanation can be found, it might be considered extraordinary. And that's where we are now. There are only 2 other potential explanations for the leopard spots that could disprove the alien theory. One is a high-temperature reaction. The dark patterns could have been formed by very hot water, around 150 to 200 degrees Celsius, interacting with the rock billions of years ago. But Mars's surface is cold, and there's no evidence this riverbed was ever exposed to high heat. We also know vivianite can only form at low temperatures. It would have been destroyed by heat if any had been present, so this probably didn't happen. Explanation 2 is an acidic water reaction, suggesting the spots formed from long-term exposure to a highly acidic liquid. but there's no other evidence in the rock to suggest it was ever covered in acid. In fact, they also found a mineral called olivine in the same rock. Olivine cannot form in an acidic environment, so this probably didn't happen either. That leaves us with alien microbes. In this case, it's the only theory that hasn't been disproven. So by process of elimination, it's the most likely to be correct. That means for the first time ever, we can confidently say there was probably life on Mars. This is incredible. It would mean life is not exclusive to Earth. You don't need an incredibly rare set of circumstances for life to begin. All you need are the key ingredients, which are basically liquid water and organic. Anywhere in the universe we find those ingredients, we will likely find life. But unfortunately, we still can't say this with 100% certainty. That's because the evidence is not complete. There's only so much the instruments on Perseverance can tell us. This is a mobile research laboratory launched into space and landed on Mars. It can do a lot, but it can't do everything. There are many more tests we could run on the Leopard spots if we had the sample here on Earth, but we don't. And it could be a long time before we do, if ever. Perseverance has collected 27 rock cores from Jezero Crater and its surrounding riverbeds. It cuts them out and stores them in metal tubes left on the surface. The plan was always for another Mars rover to follow in the near future, collect the samples, load them into a return vehicle, and blast off from Mars to eventually land on Earth with the rocks. Mars sample return is complicated and expensive. The government does not want to pay for NASA to complete the mission. They would prefer someone else do it. Even though NASA has more experience landing on Mars than any other organization in the world. In fact, the only other space agency to successfully land on Mars is China. The Chinese have their own Mars sample return mission planned. It's scheduled to launch in 2028 and return to Earth with Martian rock in 2032. The Chinese can afford it. They probably have the technical capability to succeed, and now they know exactly where to look for the first real evidence of extraterrestrial life. Not that it should matter who discovers what, right? This is about science, but it does kind of matter, doesn't it? This is science that could change everything we think we know about life and the universe. NASA is so close, yet so far away. But it's important to remember none of this is impossible. The money is there. We just need the collective will to spend it on a project that will be hard, might fail, and has a timeline extending beyond the 4-year election cycle. So it could be that a discovery like this, the first real evidence of extraterrestrial life, is exactly what we need right now to remind those in charge that NASA science is important and worth investing in. One way or another, the truth is out there. All we need to do is go out and get it. If you enjoyed this journey through the mysteries of Mars, make sure to subscribe for more fascinating discoveries. Give this video a like if you found it intriguing, and share it with others who love exploring the unknown.